And Cedric, well, you have the story. You already in newscasts a couple of times. Please proceed.
Yeah, New Orleans Congressman Cedric Richmond says it's time to ramp up security for federal lawmakers. Richmond says if Steve Scalise had not been at that practice, it could have been a bloodbath. He says something has to be done to keep all members of Congress safe at all times.
We do need better security, and if leadership cannot figure out a way to do it, I'll probably just introduce legislation and try to do it on my own.
Okay, so that's the first Cedric Richmond cut you have.
Mm-hmm.
Cedric Richmond, Democrat from New Orleans, says we need to be better protected.
Mm-hmm.
If well, not so much Scalise, but if Scalise's security detail, because he's the House Majority Whip.
Right.
You know where that term comes from, by the way?
Because he whips them into shape for votes.
Whips up the votes. That's literally it.
Yeah.
So if his security detail had not been there, then it would have been literally and tragically a massacre. Play the second Richmond cut.
Yeah, Richmond says that members of the security for members of Congress is embarrassingly inadequate.
In this climate, I think that we should know that the position itself is of such importance that you need protection.
So, what is Cedric Richmond, Democrat from New Orleans, actually saying when he says, you know, if Steve Scalise hadn't been there, it would have been a bloodbath. What he's saying is, if Steve Scalise's armed security detail hadn't been there, it would have been really, really bad. Like when we talked to Tom Gresham yesterday, and Mr. Tom said, you know how you stop a bad guy with a gun? Good guys with guns.
Yes.
So what Cedric Richmond is saying is, we, as lawmakers, need more good guys with guns.
Right.
One problem with that. Cedric Richmond, Democrat from New Orleans, has voted for every gun control measure that has ever come up. He is one of the biggest anti-Second Amendment gun ownership guys there is.
Does that surprise you?
So you tell me, is he being hypocritical? Is he saying, you know, I, Cedric Richmond, deserve to be protected
by guys with guns.
By guys with guns, but you, Aaron McCarty, you, Matt Parker,
I don't think you need guns.
You don't need those like I do, because my life and my kids' lives are way more important.
Well, you know, that's an issue.
He doesn't want you to have guns. He wants more guns. It comes down to that. You don't get guns. Cedric Richmond gets guns.
He doesn't get guns. People to protect him get guns.
Hypocrisy is such a strong word.
It is.
But every time they start in on this, it's like, I don't have to have Obamacare, but you do. You have to take all the immigrants into your neighborhoods and your homes and your towns and cities, but I'm going to live behind a wall.
Right.
Global warming's the same way. Erin needs to pay $8 a gallon for gas and have her electric bill triple, but I'm going to fly on private jets and live in a 30,000 square foot home. Is this any different from that?
It sounds pretty close.
We need more guns. It's dangerous. Yes, it is. And the Scalise shooting is a tragedy of tragedies. Look, it's what I would always say when President Obama would launch you into a gun control speech. Shouldn't you, shouldn't Matt, shouldn't everybody have the right to the same weapons that he has to protect his two daughters?
Absolutely.
I mean, I know it's an extreme, but if Barack Obama gets rocket launchers and bazookas to protect Sasha and Malia, shouldn't you get rocket launchers and bazookas to protect little Jim Jones and Johann Sebastian McCarty?
You know, and I literally watched the congressional baseball game last night, and they are going to be making changes about how federal lawmakers are protected. More security with them.
Look, I understand that. But the representatives who are screaming that they want more security are the same ones that want to come to your home and take your guns, that don't think you should have the protection that they suddenly think is their right.